Hey folks, Dave here, and I like multi-tools. Here today to talk about the Gerber Bullrush. I seem to be having a little series going on with the Crucial, so this one felt appropriate to do next. This is another one of the weird little discontinued Gerbers, which let me know if that's a trend that you want me to continue, because I've got examples. And this is certainly an interesting piece. Before we get talking about that though, how big actually is it? This chunky little brick, how big is it? It feels appropriate to do the same measurements as I did with the Crucial, so here's a Skeletal, a rebar, and a Super Tool 300, all Leatherman, Bulrush obviously in the middle, pliers out, knife out, and probably most appropriately, here we are beside the Gerber Crucial and the center drive. As I've said before, the Gerber Bullrush has been discontinued several years ago. It's a little bit of an older product and was made to essentially be the sequel to the Crucial. And in that role, it improves a little bit on the design, but also has significant failures. There's gold, there's garbage, let's talk about them. One of the main improvements over the Crucial is with the handles. I complained a little bit, I'm just going to leave this on screen. I complained a little bit about the aluminum handles. They're a little slippery. You got some texturing, but they're kind of slippery, can be. Whereas with the Bullrush, because this is meant to be, that's something worth talking about, because it is intended to be more of the tactical, hard use, this is going to be carried on the hip of a police officer every day kind of thing, it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit wider, and it's got G10, which is much more grippy, and stays in the hand just a little bit better. Now, as far as ergonomics go, we're going to come back to that in a hardcore way. But just with the G10, it does feel nicer. It's not as slippery. Big improvement. Something that I should not be as impressed by, but you kind of have to be, is that all points of contact, all the hinges, points of contact is weird phrasing, they're screwed in a way that, like, if something gets loose, you can use a screwdriver and tighten it yourself. Leatherman does not do that consistently, and it really pisses me off, as evidenced by these scratch marks. And with the G10 and the handle, you can see right there and right there, it's cut away for the labeling. They didn't impress it into the G10, they put it on the steel underneath and then cut away. It's a small detail, but I like the window, I like the patterning here. It's an extra step of character that they did not have to do, but I am glad they did. One of the main changes over the Crucial is that these pliers are spring-loaded. There are a lot of things that I said in my Crucial Red unboxing that I was actually talking about the Bullrush and I had just gotten confused. The spring-loaded being one of those. With the pliers also, these are side cutters. Now they're anvil style, we're going to talk about that later, but if you are going to do anvil style, this is the correct way to do it. Anvil style in this context makes no sense because the cutters are still in the center of the plier as opposed to the edge. So for instance, if you want to cut zip ties but real close, this is kind of the best way to do it. They're side nippers, the same as actual wire cutters. Decent pliers. Jake from Ohio State talked about how with the Crucial he appreciated how narrow the needle nose was. That follows through with this as well. Full 3D Phillips with a decent enough reach, and all of the tools have liner locks, including that right there. Again, super secret, it's not super secret, but the tactical, police officer use does have a big old strap cutter with dedicated liner lock, as well as just being easy to pull out. And isn't accidentally easy to pull out like it is on the Crucial. So as far as full tool set goes, we have the main blade, which is combo, the 3D Phillips strap cutter, as well as this tiny little pissant flathead with a terrible nail neck. Again, super rounded off. You will break nails trying to get this out. Not a big fan of that. The sheath is a complicated situation. As far as straight up design goes, this is one of my favorites from Gerber. It has a single snap opener, which is vastly preferred to any level of Velcro. This is obviously a Leatherman thing, but my war on Velcro goes on ever stronger. as well as the Gerber has the same model of sheath. I have several, but this was just on top of the stack. And on Gerber's version of the sheath, it is just a single-way belt loop, whereas on the Bulrush, it's two-way belt loop. So you can put this through your belt, horizontal or vertical. Nice little form fit. It's not just a sleeve. It does look like something's supposed to go in there. Nice lettering, stitching. I like the shield logo. I think they've changed it now. That was the gold, and because the last gold was talking about fonts for some reason, the garbage comes next, and we're going to keep talking about fonts because it really, really bothers me that Gerber put so many fonts on their tool. I intended to make one of the gold that Bulrush looks italicized, so like it's charging in, but you can look at the R's in both of these words and like they're not the same font. That bothers me. It's a very small thing, but consistency, man. Going back to the sheath, fit and finish is terrible on this. You can see right there how they just completely missed the stitch and then covered it in glue, I think. Anyway, when you look these up online, they tend to have either like medium or slightly positive reviews, and most of the negatives incorporate the sheath as a part of it. This seems to be one of the main points of failure in this tool, with just things ripping out and stitches failing because it's not terribly well made. The sheath in general is kind of a negative as far as the design over the Crucial goes. I understand it's meant for a different purpose, but the Crucial was kind of the pocketable, the skeletal, the EDC Multitool or whatever, and thus has a pocket clip. The Bullrush, being its bigger, more tactical brother, doesn't, and I really, really like the pocket clip on the Crucial. Also, this thing is just heavy. I was not kidding about a chubby little brick. Again, fit and finish, the wiggle there, you know how it works. Going back to the wire cutters, I can appreciate that they are side cutters. However, they're not good cutters. You can see so much blue space right there where they just missed. As well as, and this is, I guess these cutters are better put together than they were on the Crucial, but you can still see in between the gyres and in between the jaws just a little bit of a blue streak, because that's the bad thing about doing anvil style as opposed to scissor style. Scissor style, they cross cut like a pair of scissors do. Anvil style, the two pieces of metal just touch each other. The problem with that is that if you put so little effort into your anvil style, as most manufacturers that do it do, I assume that it's a cheaper, easier way to do it, which is why cheaper tools have it. Anyway, not guaranteed to cut. This one, like I said, they touch better than on the Crucial. The Crucial is really bad, and there's not as much margin of error. Ergonomically, I do kind of appreciate, I guess, that these are curved in a specific style. It's reminiscent of the, not reminiscent because obviously this one is much older, but it's similar to the Leatherman Skeletal. The difference, you can see that that swoop there kind of corresponds with that swoop there. The difference is that the arm on the Skeletal is so much longer, i.e., well, not a ton longer, but a bit longer, so that the bottom curve, the bottom angle, is out of your hand, or at least is in a more comfortable position. With this one, that corner is straight up in your palm. Maybe your hands are smaller than mine and can choke up a little better, but not great. It's not terribly comfortable, and if you go the other way, your hand is just falling off. Like, that's not the way it's intended. Lastly, and my most confused thing about this tool is right here. Specifically on the putting it away part. That liner lock is so deeply engaged, which is fine. Not great quality, but it's fine. We're moving past it. But it is crushed right up against the Phillips head, so much so that A, there is no cutout for it. There's barely any cutout for it. And also, you can't push it over. My thumb is incapable of this. You gotta get your nail... Oh, and listen to the lock stick. Where's the mic? Did you hear the pop? My fingernail certainly did. This tool requires 2 hands, ow, and effort to put the knife away. Terrible, terrible design. Like, fascinatingly bad design. It's the knife. It's one of the, well, I guess, you're going tactical and hard use, so maybe the strap cutter is the most important tool to you. But surely the knife is the second most important, right? Did nobody try? Ow. Ow. Did nobody try that before it left the factory? This is another, I talked about it with the Crucial, but this is another in the examples of products that make me so happy that Gerber does not do this anymore. Largely speaking, the Gerber that we know today is a different company from what it was. What was this? One of the reviews that I read on this was from 2013, so we're going to call it 10 years ago. It is a different company. They make different things, and I am so happy about that because these suck. A lot of these, I can't find my recoil, I'm not sure where it is, but there's a lot of what Gerber does, what Gerber used to do, is innovation. Well, Gerber still does. Their main thing is innovation. It's doing weird things and trying to do it well, I guess, but sometimes they focus more on doing the weird thing than doing it well. Recoil has certain aspects of that, and as soon as I find it, I'll talk about that one as well. However, bleh. Gerber's butterfly multi-tools tend not to turn out well, especially when they're more budget, which obviously materials with this is going to be an issue. G10, but who knows what the knife is made out of. As well as price, this is $50 and is definitely not worth it. I am certainly not going to be a Gerber purist and say that everything they do needs to be one of the out the front, the one-handed flicky multi-tools. However, there was a time where when they tried to do a butterfly style open, it just did not work. The Bulrush, for me, in my opinion, kind of sits atop the pile for that argument. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, let me know down below. If you want to see the rest of my discontinued Gerbers and discontinued Leathermans, I've got a pile of them as well. Let me know that down below. And other than that, y'all have a great day.